What's up, guys? Yoko here for yokogaming. I just want to say thank you guys. We made it to 1,000 subscribers. I never thought we'd ever make it, I'll be honest, especially in the first year. I'm so happy that I can help so many people, and especially like with quickscoping and stuff like that. I'm crazy to see that some of our videos have hit over 10k 20k views, so keep pushing, guys. I love that. I want to say sorry for the upload schedule with the holidays and everything else. It's not been one video every week or two videos every week. I've got some things going on in my life outside of what I'm doing with this, so like my family and some other stuff. So we're getting a schedule together. We're going to get back on track for 2021 and try to help you guys and help myself as much as possible. But I love you guys. I just wanted to say this before we got to the next video. Thank you guys again for the 1,000 subscribers. And if you have any comments or suggestions or anything, don't be afraid to leave them down below. All right, guys, enjoy the video. Love y'all. Peace. The DMR and the MAC-10 are dominating the Warzone meta right now. And there's a lot of videos from TikTok. I've seen some riot shields from Reddit, YouTube videos out the wazoo on how to counter this. But has anyone thought about sniping? Well, I'm Yoko for yokogaming, and that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. I'm going to teach you how to quickscope and how to counter these guys that are using the DMR and put you back in first place. So one of the first things we need to do is learn our opponent. Now, I know I said DMR in the intro video, but I'm also going to list the type here as they're actually pretty similar in stats. There's only minor differences in things like reload time and a couple other things. So for the DMR, no matter what range, it's going to take 5 shots to kill to the chest and 2 to the head. Fire rate at 370, ADS speed, standardly is at 280, can get up into the 400s. Bullet velocities at 520. It can also get up to the 800s with some barrel attachments and playing with it. The type is almost copy and paste with 5.2, 343 fire rate, 267 ADS speed, which is about 1 or 2 frames, and 540 bullet velocity up to the 800s as well. So they're pretty much identical. Now, I chose the CAR and the SBR here because I know they're not sniper rifles, but they are sniper rifles, all right? Just because they're listed as marksman rifles, they're sniper rifles. And because they have some of the fastest ADS, way ahead of the HDR and some of the other ones, especially the Cold War snipers. Like, they just can't compete. So the CAR is going to take you a maximum of 3 shots to the chest and 1 to the head, fire rate of 54. The ADS speed is 300 milliseconds at a max of about 420 to 425. Now keep in mind here, the difference between 400 and 420 milliseconds is about 1 frame, right? And that's at 60 FPS. So if you're running a PC, for example, that can get up to 150 FPS or more, it kind of blurs the lines, especially if you're going against a console player. Now you're probably not going to know if you are or you're not, but just say the majority of the time that you are, it's going to be kind of not noticeable. I mean, and then you're going down to the human reaction time, so it's almost the same. It's basically the same. Bullet velocity is 989, so what that tells you is that you can actually hang back. You can fire your bullets a lot further away from them. You don't have to be running around and shooting them in the face. And then with the SBR, it's almost the exact same copy and paste. It has a little bit higher chance of bullet velocity, giving you more range, more or less. But almost exact ADS speed is lacking about 1-2 frames slower than the CAR. So overall, at a max of 1 to 3 frames slower than the type in the DMR. And again, that's at 60 FPS. So you double that, that's almost like half a frame. You're getting into milliseconds there where people are really not going to be able to notice unless they're just a cutting edge shroud type people. So key takeaways here when we're looking at the stats that are in Warzone. Your CAR and your SBR is going to have more range. You have the potential for a one-shot. Now, remember, they may start shooting you into the chest and then trying to hit a headshot. If they shoot you in the chest and then they get a headshot, it's going to take 1 more shot. It takes 3 shots, but they still have to manage the recoil and everything else. We're going to have no recoil for the sniper rifles, right? We just have to put it on their head and pull the trigger. So potential one-shot. Slower ADS, like I covered, 1 to 2 frames at 60 FPS. You're not going to look like a noob, and you look a lot cooler hitting a lot of quick scopes. And if you don't believe me, check out some of these. Now you can argue and use any sniper rifle, you know, a lot of people love the X50 and all that. That's great. I just chose the SPR and the CAR, you know, whatever Nutella you like on your apples, you do you. But I chose these guns because they have the fastest ADS time in their respective classes. So they're going to be able to hang on par with some of these DMR and type classes that are built. That's why I even showed the ADS speeds like 1 frame more or 1 frame less. It's really not noticeable, especially at long range when you're talking about your bullet velocity, right? The frame you lose when you're ADSing, you may make up for in the bullet velocity of reaching our target. Another thing to think about here is that you have higher chance to down them in 1 shot. So, I mean, there's a lot of hackers here, but they have to hit you twice in the head repeatedly. It means they have to manage the recoil. They pretty much have to hit you in the chin and then the top of the temple.
And so you can actually just kind of take that first shot if you're feeling it, you got great position, and then just put the cursor right on their head, or put the analog stick right on their head and pull the trigger. It's so much easier to just kind of stand there and take shots. This is the problem that was in Cold War. That's why they nerfed the sniper rifles in Cold War, because of the increased health. People were just standing there and eating shots, and there was virtually no flinch, and then you just put it on their head and kill them. So you can still do that in Warzone though. You have to be kind of chancy with it. Like I said, there's a bunch of hackers, so beware. And there's a lot of people that are just spamming the trigger, but it has a ton of recoil. You can just kind of stand there and just put it on their head. All right, now let's get into the fun stuff. The reason you probably clicked on this video. Let's get into some tips and tricks for quickscoping in Warzone. Now, I'm not going to go into sensitivity and a bunch of other things, as I've already made a quickscoping video that kind of generalizes everything for multiplayer and kind of how to think. So this is kind of more of strategic element for Warzone specifically, as it is a different enemy entirely. Now, the first thing you want to do is obviously go for a headshot only. Now, I know that seems simple, it seems stupid, but you have to understand here, this is the strength of the sniper rifle, is that it downs in one shot. So you don't want to just take a shot to the chest. If you can't take a shot to the head, try to wait it out and wait for the shot to come to you. And if it doesn't, try to get into a different position to take the shot, especially if you're playing duos, trios, and quads. You want to try to break away from your pack, try to find a way to camp if they're going to retreat, or get a nice flank and then go for the headshot. Take your time here, as it does down in one shot. And then, like I said, it's the only reason to use the sniper rifle, so you want to try to make sure you can use it as much as possible. Keeping your distance here is also important, especially on something like the Rebirth map, which has nothing but buildings. You want to try to either stay on top of a building, or you want to try to stay on the outside of the map. Now, the other map, whatever the name it is, the big old map, the original map, again, you want to stay on the outside of things. As an example, as a scenario, you see two people that are inside of a building. You don't want to just rush in and try to quickscope them, all right? You want to try to peek around on the outside, see if you can catch them through a doorway, catch them through a window, catch them, being on a hill. Maybe you're just level with them, but you don't want to just rush in there and then try to get a quick scope. Now, it is good sometimes, it's a great ego booster. It's great if you're streaming, it makes for great clips, but as a general sense of trying to win the actual game long term, I wouldn't suggest doing it all the time. Try to be strategic about it, down one guy, and then once half the team is down or whatever, then rush in and try to get that flashy last kill. Okay, avoiding wide open firefights. I see this all the time. And no one plans to have a wide open firefight, but you do need to plan to not have a wide open firefight. Try to take any shots you can from buildings, from cover, especially if you're using a sniper rifle, guys. I can't stress this enough, because if you have two MP5s or two M4s or two FALs and you're out in the middle of the field, it's pretty equal, right? You have to kind of hit each other the same amount of times. But with the sniper rifle, that's not the case. Now, you do have the chance to down them in one shot to the head, but on the other side, if you miss, the amount of time it's going to take to rechamber that shot and for them to just light you up is insanely in their favor, right? They have way less risk involved of them being caught out in the open versus you being caught out in the open. So you want to take shots from cover. Like I said before, if you can't take the headshot from where you are, try to move into location. Be patient if you're playing duos, trios, and quads. Just because you see one guy, you don't necessarily have recon on the others. So you want to take your time, get an idea on where the whole team is, and then strategize with your team on how to take them out. For Modern Warfare, people do not use the flinch perk, which is actually a big help for snipers, right? If you're glinted on someone and they're shooting at you, even if they're far away, one shot can just be enough to make your shot not hit the head or hit the chest or hit the leg or knock it off entirely. So I would definitely recommend using the perk flinch, especially for the car. I think it's an amazing perk and it's definitely underused. No one uses it. The other step I would say is to always hold your breath. I cannot tell you how many quickscopers don't hold their breath. And to me, it's baffling, right? Because not only does it improve the accuracy of your gun, but it's also great for something like flick shots because it keeps the gun pretty steady, right? You're not having to overshoot when you're ADS. It gives that nice streamline left to right or up to down, whatever you need to do. But it just makes everything a lot more accurate. Now with Cold War snipers, they actually nerfed this inside of the game itself, but it doesn't look like it's been nerfed in Warzone. The same mechanics for sniping is still there, so definitely try to hold your breath, guys. Movement, man. You want to stay jumping, sliding, crouching, proning, knifing, dying, anything you can do except when you're about to take that final shot. You want to be as steady as a rock. So dive, jump, dive, duck, dodge, dive again, whatever you got to do to take the shot, to get in position. but you definitely want to be stable, or at least be in crouch when you're taking your shot. Now, holding your breath will help with this. That's another reason I suggested it, because holding your breath while you're moving will stabilize the shot a little bit. But if you can actually stabilize the character model itself, it leads to higher accuracy shots, and it also leads you to stay in cover, right? If you're pacing yourself back and forth left and right, as an example, that's a lot better than just holding the stick or holding WASD left or right and putting yourself out of cover and strafing to miss more shots. It's just not good for anybody. So duck, dip, dodge, dodge. Yeah. Oh, just remember, when you're about to take your shot, try to be as still as a rock. All right, guys, so I'm gonna put the classes up on the screen. I'm not gonna go into detail into every attachment because I think you guys at this point are pretty aware of what we use, but if not, I have other videos explaining. I did an SPR versus a car video, so I went deep into all the attachments there, but I'm assuming you guys are pretty familiar with it, so I'm just going to put the classes on the screen, and then I'm going to show all the support that we had from the comments that I mentioned earlier in the video. Guys, this is going to be it. I love y'all. Peace.